A landmark announcement today from Governor Gavin Newsom. California will become the first state in the U.S. to require COVID vaccinations for all public and private students.
But our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you.
The president is ordering nearly all federal workers and employees of contractors that do business with the federal government get vaccinated within 75 days, eliminating their option to be tested instead of getting shots. Employees who refuse could be punished, even fired.
If you want to work with the federal government and do business with us, get vaccinated.
While initially reluctant to issue mandates, the president's aggressive new plan requires vaccinations for 17 million healthcare workers at hospitals and other sites that receive Medicare or Medicaid funding. President Biden's now pressuring private companies too, directing the Labor Department to require businesses with 100 or more employees ensure their workers are fully vaccinated or provide a negative test each week, a move the White House estimates will impact 80 million Americans.
Feeling in much of her body just hours after getting Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine.
And it was the scariest thing in the world to go to sleep completely fine, walking, to wake up at 1:30 in the morning, not able to move at all.
She didn't want to show her face, but she tells Channel 11's Jillian Hartman about the moment that she realized that something was very wrong. And Jillian's live with us tonight. Jillian?
Yeah, she spoke with me exclusively from her hospital bed. Her family also told me doctors at Allegheny General Hospital ran every test you can imagine, but still don't know why a perfectly healthy 33-year-old mother is basically paralyzed from the chest down just hours after getting the Pfizer vaccine. Like you just said, Lisa, she didn't want to share her name, she didn't want to show her face, but she wants to show and share her story right now as more people become eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine.
Your comments that appeared on that about you not getting a vaccination, why you don't want to get a vaccination, and were you misquoted in that article?
I would start by saying that I was pretty badly misrepresented in the Rolling Stone article, and because of that, I can understand anyone who may say they don't transparently or overtly trust the media. In a frustrated tweet yesterday, I had noted that true journalism was dying. And to that, I would say that I appreciate every single one of you, those that try their best to correctly share the thoughts, the ideas, and the heart of the people that they're asking questions of. I'm not anti-vax. I'm not anti-medicine. I'm not anti-science. I didn't come to my current vaccination status by studying Black history or watching Donald Trump press conferences. I have nothing but the utmost respect for every healthcare worker and person in Orlando and all across the world that have worked tirelessly to keep us safe. My mom has worked in healthcare for a really long time. I thank God, I'm grateful that I live in a society where vaccines are possible and we can protect ourselves and have the means to protect ourselves in the first place. But with that being said, it is my belief that the vaccine status of every person should be their own choice and completely up to them without bullying, without being pressured, or without being forced into doing so. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm uncomfortable with taking the vaccine at this time. I think that we're all different. We all come from different places. We've all had different experiences and hold dear to different beliefs. And what it is that you do with your body when it comes to putting medicine in there should be your choice, free of the ridicule and the opinion of others.
Welcome back. Rap artist Nicki Minaj turning a lot of heads for her take on the COVID vaccine in a tweet about her cousin's friend. Apparent adverse reaction.
In Trinidad.
Yes, ultimately telling her followers just pray on it and make sure that you're comfortable with your decision, not bullied. Well, her hesitancy even prompted the White House to extend an invitation to her to discuss further. Let's bring back in Stacey Washington for her reaction on all of this. So the bottom line is Nicki Minaj blocked, I think it was, on Twitter because of her stance on, that people should be able to make their own decisions.
Yeah, so I was up in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep, unfortunately grabbed my phone and caught some commentators live streaming about this. And I was like, Nicki Minaj, because, as a mom of teenagers and now they're young adults, I really have had a problem with Nicki Minaj's content it's highly sexualized, and it really it's the antithesis of what a parent would want their child to kind of ascribe to. But the fact that, the woman, whatever the content is, she is extraordinarily popular, and she's a cultural influencer. And so for her, I think on Instagram alone, she has millions, like an outrageous number of followers. So she has the ability to sway opinions, and she is a pretty reliable Democrat. I mean, she's not really political, but, you can assume that she's a Democrat. All they're doing is basically smearing her. But I have to say, so Bob and Heather, did you expect them to go this hard at her with her being a mobile Democrat? Like, don't you feel like a little bit of immunity? Yet they're ripping her to shreds.
Yeah.
So I have 2 words for the CDC and the White House: Tuskegee experiment. That's why we Black folk are a bit hesitant. And a new poll that's out that I just read this morning shows that vaccine hesitant individuals like myself are actually digging in. We'd rather quit our jobs. We'd rather be tested every week than get vaccinated. So the harder they push, the more resistant the vaccine hesitant become. And watching Nicki Minaj get filleted by her own folks, by her own party, it's enough to make you really think through, is she being red pilled? Is this like the fastest red pilling we've ever seen? What happens tomorrow? Will Twitter let her back on? And if they don't, what will her followers think about the censorship that they're watching? Because we're always screaming about it, but when it happens to a Democrat, it really matters. So, yeah, it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Aldean has some thoughts on the upcoming COVID-19 vaccine mandate for California children. On Sunday, October 3rd, the Blame It On You singer took to Instagram writing, "So let me get this straight. It is no longer our decision as parents or free Americans to make decisions about our kids. Gavin Newsom makes those decisions for us now? You gotta be kidding me." Adding, "People in California should be outraged, and people everywhere else better start standing up and speaking out now. This is not how America and being free works."
Who came to share their stories Monday. Although her doctor and the doctors of most others at the press conference refused to draw a connection to the vaccine, Candace says she experienced several problems following the shot.
I was suffering from severe paresthesia and was partially paralyzed from my chest down.
From shooting pain in their bodies to being unable to move, each and every person recalled the moments of what they say their life has been since getting their vaccine.
I lost control of my legs and my bladder, along with my dignity.
On January 14th, I received the Moderna vaccine. The next morning, I woke up with severely swollen lymph nodes in my neck.
Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson says he does recognize that the vaccine is saving lives, but in his eyes, the CDC and other health officials aren't being fully transparent when it comes to the adverse reactions people can experience after getting the shot.
I think the American public should be able to have informed consent when deciding whether or not to take a experimental vaccine one way or the other.
Stephanie DeGarry says her 12-year-old daughter Maddie participated in the Pfizer COVID vaccine trial last year, but has not been the same since.
Over the past 5 months, Maddie has been to the ER 9 times and has been hospitalized 3 times for a total of 2 months. She was totally fine before this. She did the right thing trying to help everybody else, and they're not helping her.
In the end, these participants say they just want others to know what they went through.
That small minority that are suffering severe symptoms. We want to deny that reality.
I'm not advocating anything other than to listen to these people, to see them, and take them seriously.
Dr. Bailey, I agree with you that Misinformation is leading to vaccine hesitancy, and I think probably the largest area of misinformation is actually coming from the government regarding natural immunity. There's actually dozens and dozens of peer-reviewed articles on natural immunity. The natural immunity is robust. A study from Washington University School of Medicine just recently says mild infection with SARS-CoV-2 induces a robust antigen-specific long-lived humoral immune memory in humans. Cleveland Clinic study, 50,000 employees, showed that those who had had the disease previously had the same, if not better, immunity than those who'd been vaccinated. If we deny this and we say, stick your head in the sand, everybody be vaccinated, don't worry your pretty little head about whether you've had it or not, we don't do any testing, we have lots of ways of testing for immunity, guess what? The people are going to have hesitancy because they think you're not telling them the truth, which is true. That isn't the truth. We do know that you get robust immunity from this. We also know that even taking conservative estimates from the CDC, that about 100 million people have had this. How do we know that? 34 million people have tested positive, but even the most conservative antibody surveys show that at least 2 people for every 1 that got it also had it. That's 100 million people. And so if we discount that, we say, oh, we're never getting to herd immunity. You have all these articles saying, we'll never make it, we'll never make it. We don't have enough people vaccinated, but then we say, oh, we got to go harder. Now we're going to go for the 10-year-old, then the 5-year-old, then we're going to go for the 2-year-old, then we're going to say, oh, you can't leave the hospital until you're vaccinated. People are going to be hesitant because they don't believe you, and they don't believe that the risk of the disease in children anywhere equates to adults. Over 65, it's at least 1,000 times more dangerous. The death rate under 25, about 1 in a million. If you combine natural immunity with vaccine immunity, Dr. McCary of Johns Hopkins estimates that 80 to 85% of adults have immunity, and that we have reached herd immunity. Yet the government insists on discounting or really not counting at all the millions of individuals who have acquired natural immunity. This scientific error causes the government to believe that we haven't gotten there, that we have to go harder and harder and harder. There are reports of myocarditis. It isn't decided yet. We're in the means of talking about this, and if we just say blithely, go take your vaccine, don't think about this, that's not good medicine. We should think about it. I don't know what the risk is. It may turn out that it's 1 in 10 million, and then by all means I'd say go. If you're over 65, I say without question, the vaccine is way safer than the disease. But I can't say that with surety for a 10-year-old. I really can't say that. I also can't say that we haven't reached herd immunity and that we're pushing so hard on the kids that we might do damage to children with this. It's an unknown question. The science is not completely done on children. They're discussing it this week. How frequent is myocarditis? We don't know that. If it's 1 in 100,000 and the chance of myocarditis in the normal population is 1 in a million, I would probably say you ought to think twice about it. But another way to do it is we could test the children. We could test the adults. If they have antibodies, let them make a choice. Let them make an intelligent choice. Some people will still choose to be vaccinated. But we are so adamant, get the vaccine, don't think about it, that leads to hesitancy because people don't think we're following the science or that people who give that advice are following the science. So my question is, shouldn't previous infection be considered in the effort to push vaccination on our children?
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. This is not about freedom or personal choice. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. This is not about freedom or personal choice.